Okay, I live barely 100 meters away from the finest golf course in the country. But it took me many, many years to actually go and see what's inside that. So after much prodding by my friends and my close associates, I got initiated into this game of golf. So I reluctantly took a few lessons, went to the practice range, figured out what it's all about. So the very first few lessons that I figured out, this is an incredibly difficult game. It's a game that's going to test my skills in every which way. And the first thing it obviously tested me was to unlearn a lot of things. All of us played a lot of sport, played cricket, you played football, whatever. So you typically tend to do a drive, or I try to do a cover drive of the golf ball, which is not what it is. So you have to unlearn your muscular memory and all that stuff. Also, this game tests you many, many ways. So let me give you a little bit of background about what this game is all about, why it's so difficult. This is the only game that you play with a stationary ball. Okay, all the other games that you play typically are moving. The tennis, the ball is coming at you, you're trying to whack the ball, there's a bowler bowling at you, and you're trying to use the force of the ball to deflect or shot, do whatever you want to do. This is probably the only game you're hitting a stationary ball that's lying ahead of you and nothing else. It is just you and the ball. Unlike maybe the only game I can think of in what we call Nuria Batti. You play marbles, that's probably the only stationary game that you play outdoors. Very, very difficult. So therefore, you and the ball have to figure out what's happening between you. So that's a very, very, very unique situation. Also, this game is a very non-standard game. When I say non-standard, each hole in the course and every course is different. Unlike volleyball, football, hockey, tennis, whatever, pretty much are played in a defined arena of a measured size. Just imagine you were to play a game of cricket, for example. In the Sydney test, you had the pitch for 22 yards, and the next test you had for 50 yards. Just imagine what we do to the bowlers. It's a completely different ball game altogether. So this is a game that challenges you in which way. So the other thing about every hole is it comes with its own challenges. So there are water bodies, there are stones, there are trees, shrubs, bushes, multiple things are thrown at you, including sand bunkers. It's so difficult to navigate. So also, when I say non-standard, every hole is of different length. One could be 150 yards, that could be 400 yards, it could be 550 yards, depending on whatever. And you have to do that multiple times over 18 holes. So it's an incredibly difficult game. The other interesting thing about golf is what it does in terms of how you swing the ball. So swinging is a very, very unique situation. It's a perfect cocktail of a neuromuscular control, your speed, your agility and control. So it's a different, very, very solid thing. So it is probably the most studied motion of a sports activity. I don't think even a Carl Lewis's jump or a sprint has been studied as much as a golf swing. So golf swing is extremely well studied and researched. So it's intrigued people. Scientists alike, scientists also got intrigued. What is this game all about? So therefore, there's a lot of science behind this game. So you pretty much have tried to analyze and decipher everything that's happening to the motion. There are trajectories, there are integral calculus done about what is this ball about, what is this game all about. So if you see the ball is a dimpled ball, and precisely there are 336 dimples on the ball, and that's supposed to be optimal. There could be 300 between 500 dimples in a ball, but that is what makes a difference. There's so much science that goes behind the club itself. The club is of particular length. It's got different angles for each of them. There is a shaft which is made of either graphite, used typically in a Formula 1 car or a wing of an airplane, or different stiffness. The heads of the clubs are made of alloys of different makes. There's tungsten. There's so much science behind this. Pretty much, there's more science than rocket science in this game. So when humans are not able to fathom a particular challenge that posed at you, you pretty much try and analyze and go scientifically about this. So very, very difficult. And since it is so difficult, and that it's the only game that man has taken to the moon, we said, okay, on Earth we couldn't master it. Let's try and see if we can do it on the moon. So Alan Shepard is the only game that got played beyond Earth. Alan Shepard actually hit 3 golf balls on the moon. So this is the only sport actually that went out of the whole thing. So let's talk about what is the construct of the game. So why is it so difficult? Apart from all that I spoke about in terms of technicalities of the game, why is it so difficult? This game, the basic premise of the game is about. It says every player is honest, okay? Every player is honest, and every player has to play by the rules. And that is the basic premise of this game. So which means the honesty and integrity on the golf course is extremely important. Which means that if you see the way the game is played, you play 3 or 4 people play, or you can play all alone. And I am responsible for my own scoring. So it's honor-based scoring. So I can choose to cheat. I can, for example, the ball is lying in a different lie or difficult lie. I can push the ball and make it easy for me, but you don't do that. So this is paramount, extremely important as a game. I don't think no other game does this. There are no referees, there are no umpires looking on you. So it is you who has to do this perfectly for yourself. Since it is also a very difficult game, it comes with a lot of passion and a lot of intensity and a lot of expectation because you want to play this very well. And therefore, it's a perfect cocktail of what I would say it will lead to immense frustration because you're able to overcome this whole challenge yourself and trying to do the best with all that is coming in the way. There's also a lot of frustration. Therefore, when you're facing the situation, there's probably a tendency to maybe bend the rules, maybe cheat, maybe take a different lie, maybe do something that I should not. But integrity on the golf course is paramount. So there's no, it's unsaid, unwritten thing, but that is what it comes with. And that is a very, very important facet of this game. I don't think any other game does this. There have been tournaments, last tournaments lost because the player himself has deemed his play illegal and lost the match. So he voluntarily says, okay, I made a mistake, I lose 2 shots, I take the penalty and lost. So that is the kind of integrity this comes with. So what I would like to speak to you is about 2 or 3 things that, that really helped me learn from this game. 2 aspects primarily. One is as an individual, what did I learn from the game? And what are the learnings I've taken to the workplace? First, let's look at how has it shaped me as an individual. As I said, integrity and honesty is paramount. So this is something that shapes the human being who's on the golf course. Today, for example, people say that like senior positions of companies, before they recruit and hire leaders, they ask them to play a round of golf because that is what defines the character of the person. Your character emerges how you take the game of golf, and it is true because this in one game of golf you can actually figure out who's what. The second critical learning that for myself I take is from respect and humility. Respect it comes in various forms. First, respect, when you go to the golf course, you're pretty much well dressed, you turn out well. You have to have your polo shirts, you turn out well. You respect the people in the 4 ball that you're playing with. You don't talk when somebody's addressing the ball. You respect the course itself. For example, you've taken a shot, you created a divot. Divot is primarily you chipped off a certain amount of grass from the course. You respect and you repair it. You rake the bunkers. You do pretty much a lot of stuff respecting the course, the people behind you, people ahead of you, a lot of respect. And that respect, just imagine if you were to use that same analogy into your lives. If you don't respect your peers, your family, your competitors, your customers, I think you'll not go too far. And humility is something that is a great ally or a great friend on the course. Arrogant people will lose out. So you can have momentary glory, but the thing is, humility is something that will teach you because even the best of people can have very, very low rights. So you will have to be humble and figure out and accept the game it is because it is such a difficult game. The third thing I would like to focus on is leadership and control. So when I say leadership comes as personal leadership. So when you are playing yourself with the rules that are given to you and what you do with it, I think it is an extremely important thing that you take ownership of the whole thing. You have your caddy, who is like your mentor, and a caddy may not be the best player, but he's the guy who will possibly help you navigate through that whole course, through the round. So he's the guy who's giving you tips, figuring out what is the best shot, how should you approach the particular shot. He's the mentor. So you need to take this whole, strategize with his inputs, and obviously be a leader of your own game. And obviously control because you pretty much don't control a lot of things on the course. What you can control is your own swing and your instincts. A lot of times you will find challenges which you have completely, the weather, it's raining or it's a morning time, there's a dew, whatever, you have no control on things. In real life, many times we face the same situation. We don't have control on a lot of things. We don't have control on our competitors' strategies, for example. We don't have control on our customers' choices. But how do you then deal with that, and what do you take, and how do you make sure that what is in your control is what you go with? Moving to what and how it shaped my workplace and the learnings that I've taken from there. The first important thing is about decisions and consequences. When I say decisions and consequences, we are all on the golf course, for example. You take certain shots that are probably risky, certain shots that you're not capable of. For every shot that you take, there's a consequence, either a good consequence or a bad consequence. So you are your own ownership. For example, you're own owner of that particular decision or a choice. So if you don't take ownership of that particular decision, you'll feel miserable. And likewise in the workplace, I think all of us always find that in a good decision we take the applause, but when it's a bad decision, the results are bad, you don't typically like to show the finger to somebody else saying that somebody else did it. So ownership, as young professionals that you are, I think for your own decisions, I think it's extremely important. The correlate to that is risk and rewards. So when I say risks, on the golf course, you have to know, you have to be self-aware. When I say self-aware, you should know your game. You should know what you are good at. Maybe I'm not capable of hitting a 200-yard drive, but I'm good at maybe going in two. I mean, I can maybe 100 and 100, that's fine. But thing is, for every shot there is a risk and there's a reward. And I think if you not aware of your own game, if you're not aware of your strengths, you can possibly be on the wrong side of this whole thing. So that is what makes this whole thing extremely, extremely important. The third thing I'd like to focus is on me versus them. So this is a game that you play with yourself. Okay, I can be playing all alone on a golf course, and I play against myself. I don't need to necessarily play with the opponent because he's got a different game and he's got a different capability. But the moment you start playing against yourself is when you actually brings the best out of you. If you were to just extend that into your workplace, I think we are more often than not really stuck on trying to compare ourselves with our peers and compete with them. What is a competitor doing? What is their strategy? And we'll pretty much lose focus on what we are supposed to do. If all of us in our workplaces were to really emulate ourselves, collectively I think will be a far better place to work. Golf course, as I said, is a challenging thing, so it gives you a lot of leeway to innovate. Okay, while you would be self-aware of figuring out what is the best shot or what is you're capable or not capable of doing, but it also gives you enough scope for you to innovate and challenge yourself. So there could be situations where you could be right behind the rock, but there is some way you should need to reach, and it's a competitive game and you want to push yourself. If you don't imagine the best possibility of what you could do and take that innovative, creative shot, maybe you'll surprise yourself. You'll surprise yourself saying, oh my God, I did this, and I actually got a very good result out of it. So likewise, if you do this, the most expected thing in your workplaces, you pretty much get the most expected results, which is what we are not for. I mean, I'm sure all of you are extremely talented and extremely creative. If you don't push yourself, challenge yourself, saying that I should do something different, being a marketing person, how can I do a better marketing strategy? If I were a R&D code guy, can I do a better code or better product? If we don't challenge ourselves, I think we'll never be able to move ahead. So these are few interesting things that I thought were possibly learnings from me from personal aspect as well as the things that I took from the course to the boardroom. More often than not, I mean, I see a lot of young professionals here, people getting into workplaces very soon. You will find your workplace extremely intimidating. It'll be a place that'll be out of your comfort zone. There'll be pressures of expectations. There'll be performance expectations. There'll be your bosses running down on you. So you'll be lonely at times. You'll be feeling intimidated. And pretty much that is I would say, the Chakravyuh of workplace. What is important and interesting about this Chakravyuh workplace is we voluntarily get into it. It's not like somebody's pushing us into this place, but I've chosen to have a career. And we pretty much spend about, 30-35 years as a career, and we have to be in this maze of the workplace maze, which always, so every morning, every evening is a different challenge, different things thrown at you. So how do you then navigate, and that is a beautiful Chakravyuh that sits on the golf ball, how do I then navigate this thing? So I think the learnings that I see from the golf of integrity and strength, conviction, consequence, reward. I think this is what is really what I've done is I've crystallized these learnings into a nice framework like all MBA students would do. I put into a nice triangle, a triangle of triangles. So there are three critical things that you need to learn from. So one is character, which I spoke about. Character is extremely important. You need to be. There's no shades of integrity which is no different shades, 0 or 1. You cannot have somebody trying to be treading a middle path in integrity. You have to be 0 or 1, extremely important. Second thing is, I said, consequence, ownership, consequence is extremely important. Third is compassion. If you're not compassionate, if you don't respect people, if you're not really realizing what it is all about, I think you pretty much are losing a lot of stuff, losing sight of your larger goal. And obviously in the center of the triangle is competence. I think competence is something that we all come with. We have to be competent. I have to know my game well. I have to be good in my job. If I'm a marketing guy, I have to be good in my marketing job. If you're an engineer, you have to be good in your job. So I think that is the core of the triangle, but if you were to really garnish yourself with the other three triangles around you, I think it'll be easy for you to navigate your workplace Chakravyuh much easily. So like they say, you play a round of golf, you pretty much live life. It gives you it's a you live life in miniature of the whole thing. The 4.5 hours of game pretty much distills the goods and bads about you, brings out the best out of you. And therefore, it is extremely important that you play with right honesty and conviction and all the C's that I spoke about. I think it'll be a better place. So, so these are shots of me playing golf. I'm not a great player myself. I consider myself an average golfer. Won a few tournaments here and there. But it's a game that has taught me immensely interesting things. Like Ben Hogan, one of the biggest golfers, said, your next shot is the most important shot. Okay, so you made a mistake. Okay, you figured out you're in the bush or you're behind in the sand or you're in the rough, but make the most of what is the shot ahead of you. Never look back, because what has gone by is gone by. I think it is a very profound statement for all of us. If we were to look at ourselves very positively in terms of looking at the next shot or the next opportunity or the next campaign or the next sales opportunity or the next product I want to develop, than brooding about what has gone by, I think it is never going to be a great thing. So be yourself, dream big, be the better version of yourself. Start playing golf. Thank you.